The vast emptiness of space was interrupted only by the endless stars that dotted the sky. In the distance, a fleet of alien warships, massive, imposing, and dark, made their way toward Earth's orbit. The ships were from the Galactic Council, a powerful collective of alien species that ruled much of the galaxy. These alien empires had existed for millennia, conquering planets and civilizations with ease. To them, Earth was nothing but a speck in the grand cosmic scale. Humanity was considered weak, insignificant, and, to be honest, laughable. The Council's leaders sat in a massive chamber aboard their flagship, overseeing the invasion with a mixture of indifference and arrogance. They had never once feared any planet's defense, let alone Earth's. The commander of the fleet, a battle-hardened warlord with decades of experience, looked down at Earth's blue and green surface through a vast observation window. His expression was cold and unbothered, but his tone was filled with disdain as he spoke to his officers. "Look at them," the commander said, gesturing toward Earth, a primitive species with no technology worth mentioning. "They've had their time, and now they will pay for their defiance. The Council is coming for them." The rest of the officers chuckled. The human race had nothing to offer in the grand scheme of things, and the idea of them putting up any real resistance seemed utterly ridiculous. Earth's attempts to communicate with the galaxy had been mostly ignored, seen as nothing more than noise from an insignificant world. However, just as the commander prepared to issue the orders for the final assault, a low beep echoed through the control room. It was an alert that made everyone pause. A transmission had been received from Earth. At first, the officers didn't take it seriously, assuming it was just some last-ditch effort from the humans to plead for mercy. The transmission was encrypted, unusual for Earth, but the officers ignored it, assuming it would be another desperate message of surrender. The commander waved off the transmission, dismissing it with a flick of his hand. But one of the younger officers, curious about the strange transmission, ordered it to be decrypted. The screen flickered, and the message came through. It was simple, direct, and chilling. "Your worlds will burn." The room fell silent. At first, there was laughter, as expected. The idea that these humans could pose any threat to the might of the Galactic Council was absurd. Yet, despite their laughter, a sense of unease began to crawl through the officers. The words, "Your worlds will burn," carried an ominous weight to them. The commander, though outwardly confident, felt an unfamiliar tension in the air. "How pathetic," he muttered, shaking his head. "A final warning from a dying species. Disregard it. Prepare for attack." But even as the orders were given, something didn't feel right. A feeling of uncertainty lingered in the atmosphere, like an itch that couldn't be scratched. The fleet commander didn't like it. His instincts, honed through countless battles, told him that there was more to this than met the eye. He glanced at the officer who had decrypted the message. The officer, too, looked uneasy. He had been in the presence of alien civilizations all his life, but there was something about this transmission that unsettled him. "Sir, you don't think this is a trap, do you?" the officer asked quietly. The commander snorted. "You think the humans could outsmart us? They don't even have a fleet capable of reaching us. Their technology is nothing compared to ours. Don't be foolish." Yet, despite his words, a doubt began to creep into his mind. Was there something more to Earth's warning? He pushed the thought away and issued the orders to begin the invasion. The fleet moved forward, and the massive warships entered Earth's atmosphere, their sleek bodies cutting through the stars with incredible speed. Back on Earth, the situation was far from as simple as the aliens believed. The planet's defenses had been quietly strengthened for years, hidden away from prying eyes. The governments of Earth had worked tirelessly in secret, knowing that one day a force far greater than any they had known would come for them. And now, that time had arrived. Captain Leo, a young soldier in Earth's Special Forces, sat at his command station, monitoring the movement of the alien fleet. His job was to lead Earth's final defense, a mission that had been prepared for years. He was young, determined, and highly skilled. For years, he had trained for this moment, the moment when Earth would be pushed to the brink. And now, that moment had arrived. When the message came through, Leo immediately knew something was wrong. Earth's top officials had kept him in the loop about the alien invasion, but they hadn't told him the full extent of the human countermeasures. Leo had only been briefed on the basics: the cloaking technology, the AI-controlled warships, and some of the other high-tech weaponry that was supposed to defend Earth. But what he didn't know was that Earth's weapons far exceeded what even the Galactic Council could imagine. In the underground bunkers that housed Earth's advanced defense systems, engineers worked feverishly. AI systems powered up, their algorithms running at full speed as they prepared to deploy Earth's weapons. Thousands of warships lay cloaked in orbit, ready to strike at the alien invaders with unthinkable precision. These warships were unlike anything the aliens had ever seen, with technology far beyond their own. As the alien fleet entered Earth's orbit, Leo stood before a massive holographic display of the battlefield. His hand tightened around the control panel. He knew the aliens had underestimated them. Earth was ready, not just with weapons, but with determination, resolve, and a will to survive. He watched as the countdown for the final battle began, his mind focused and ready for what was to come. Suddenly, there was a sharp vibration, a low hum that reverberated through the ground. Leo's eyes widened as the first massive explosion ripped through the sky. It wasn't from an alien weapon, but from one of Earth's secret warships. The cloaked vessel had decloaked just long enough to fire its main cannon, sending a shockwave of destruction toward the flagship of the alien fleet. The explosion sent a ripple of shock throughout the alien ships. The flagship rocked violently, its systems faltering as the energy from the blast cascaded through its hull. The commander on board the flagship screamed orders, but it was too late. The first sign that the human threat was real had been made. As Earth's forces sprang into action, Leo felt the rush of adrenaline. The countdown was over. The war for Earth had begun. The stage was set. The alien fleet, now aware that Earth wasn't as weak as they had believed, scrambled to respond. The message had been delivered, and now, the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. The battle began with an eerie silence as Earth's hidden forces prepared to engage. The alien fleet, confident in their overwhelming numbers and technology, slowly advanced into Earth's atmosphere. The Galactic Council's forces had no idea what was about to hit them. They had expected an easy victory, one where their superior firepower and advanced weaponry would leave the humans helpless, unable to defend themselves. But they were wrong. In the blink of an eye, the first wave of Earth's warships emerged from cloaking, surprising the alien invaders. The massive ships, which had been invisible until now, appeared like ghosts, their sleek, advanced forms cutting through space like shadows. Each ship carried weapons and technology that the aliens had never seen before, faster than light cannons, plasma missiles, and AI-controlled drones ready to strike with unthinkable precision. The aliens were stunned. Their screens blinked with confusion as they tried to identify the sudden threat. No one had expected Earth to be so prepared. The first shots were fired with deadly accuracy, and the alien fleet was rocked by a series of devastating explosions. For the first time, the Galactic Council's ships were on the defensive. Their advanced shields, once thought invincible, flickered under the assault. The battle had begun, but it was nothing like the Council had anticipated. Captain Leo, positioned in his command station aboard one of the human warships, watched as the alien ships scrambled to respond. His hands tightened on the controls, his pulse quickening with each passing second. This was the moment Earth had been preparing for. He wasn't just fighting for survival, he was fighting for the future of humanity. Beside him, his best friend, Bonner, a talented and fearless pilot, guided his fighter through the chaos. Bonner's squadron of agile human fighters darted in and out of the enemy fleet, using the speed and maneuverability of Earth's ships to their advantage. The human fighters, though fewer in number, were faster and more lethal than the aliens had ever imagined. As the battle raged on, Leo's thoughts were focused on one thing: protecting Earth. But he couldn't help but notice the growing sense of urgency in the alien forces. Despite their technological superiority and larger numbers, the aliens were struggling. They hadn't counted on Earth's technological advancements or the fierce resistance they were facing. On the ground, the situation was no better for the invaders. Earth's secret weapon, AI-controlled combat drones, deployed from hidden bunkers beneath the surface, swarmed across cities, wreaking havoc on alien infantry. These drones were designed for one purpose: to hunt and destroy. They moved with ruthless efficiency, coordinating their attacks with the warships in orbit above. The aliens who had assumed they would simply land on Earth and take over found themselves trapped in a nightmarish battle they couldn't win. The aliens' desperation grew. Their ships were battered, their forces scattered, and their control over the battlefield was slipping away. The surprise and shock of the human resistance was taking its toll. The once confident alien fleet was now in disarray, trying to regroup and counterattack. But Earth's forces were relentless. Leo and his team fought like soldiers possessed, each wave of human fighters pushing the invaders further back. The humans weren't giving up. They were fighting with everything they had, and the aliens had underestimated them. But just when it seemed that Earth was gaining the upper hand, the alien commander made his move. He knew that his fleet couldn't lose this battle. With their ships battered and their morale faltering, he called for reinforcements. Massive, heavily armed warships that arrived through a rift in space-time. These reinforcements were unlike anything the humans had seen before, their sheer size and firepower threatening to crush the humans in one devastating blow. The aliens were far from defeated, and their reinforcements were more than enough to turn the tide. The battle, which had been tipping in humanity's favor, quickly became a brutal contest of wills. Leo's heart sank as the waves of alien reinforcements poured in, their weapons more advanced and destructive than anything Earth had encountered. "Bonner," Leo shouted over the comms, "we can't keep this up much longer. We need to hold them off until the next wave of backup arrives." Bonner, his voice full of determination, responded, "We'll hold them, Leo. We can't let them win. Not now." But even as Bonner spoke, it was clear that the humans were being overwhelmed. The aliens' reinforcements were too powerful. The human warships, though equipped with advanced technology, were now struggling to stay afloat under the onslaught. Earth's defense systems, though resilient, were beginning to show cracks. Leo's ship rocked violently as alien plasma blasts slammed into the hull. The lights flickered and alarms blared. It was then that Leo's thoughts turned to his comrades, the brave soldiers and pilots who had fought beside him. Bonner was one of his closest friends, and seeing him fight so fearlessly gave Leo strength. But Leo knew that, as the battle grew more intense, the cost of war would become impossible to ignore. Already, he could see the signs of casualties mounting. The transmission lines crackled with reports of fallen soldiers, pilots, and even civilians. He gritted his teeth, refusing to let the weight of the loss slow him down. Earth couldn't afford to lose. Not like this. In the heat of the battle, a message came through from Earth's command center. Reinforcements were on the way, but they were still minutes away. For those minutes, the human forces would have to hold their ground. "Bonner, we've got this," Leo said through clenched teeth. "Just a little longer. We can't let them break through." The sky above Earth was filled with chaos, plasma blasts, explosions, and the streaks of light as warships clashed in space. The human fleet fought valiantly, but the alien reinforcements pressed forward with relentless force. Leo's warship shuddered as another wave of alien fire impacted the hull. His heart raced as the systems began to fail, but he wouldn't give up. He couldn't. He looked at the display showing Earth's defenses, cloaking ships, AI drones, and humans fighting for survival. And he felt a surge of pride. This was humanity's moment. This was their stand. Bonner, ever the optimist, pushed his fighter to its limits, weaving between alien ships as he fired plasma missiles with precision. He fought for his family, for his friends, and for Earth itself. Every shot he fired felt like a prayer, a wish that humanity could survive this war. But the aliens were far from finished. Their reinforcements continued to pour in, and the battlefield became even more chaotic. The human forces, though fierce and determined, were outnumbered and outgunned. The aliens' superior firepower was starting to take its toll on Earth's defenses. The battle was far from over, and the fate of Earth now hung in the balance. The question was no longer whether humanity could win, but whether they could survive long enough for their final backup to arrive. The war had taken its toll on both sides, but Earth's fight was just beginning. The shockwaves from the first battle had barely settled when the Galactic Council made its move. Furious at the unexpected resistance and their staggering losses, the Council decided that Earth's defiance would be crushed once and for all. In a move that would change the course of the war, they unleashed their second wave. A massive fleet of warships emerging from a secret star system, larger and more powerful than anything humanity had ever faced. This new fleet was a formidable force, countless battleships, each one bristling with advanced weaponry and devastating power. The alien commanders, humiliated by their previous setbacks, were determined to finish the job. Their ships were faster, better shielded, and packed with weapons that could obliterate entire cities in a single shot. The Galactic Council's leadership had one goal: Earth's complete destruction. But humanity wasn't about to give up. Captain Leo stood in the command center of one of Earth's remaining warships, the weight of the universe pressing on his shoulders. The war was now a battle for survival. The enemy had come with overwhelming force, but Earth had a few tricks up its sleeve. The most secretive of Earth's weapons, star destroyers, had finally been activated. These gargantuan ships, capable of obliterating entire fleets with a single strike, were humanity's last hope. The star destroyers, hidden deep in Earth's underground bunkers for decades, were the result of years of covert research and development. These ships were designed to be the ultimate weapon, and now, as Earth's only hope for victory, they were ready to deploy. They emerged from their hidden launch bays, each one gleaming with the promise of destruction. Their hulls were reinforced with the most advanced armor, and their weapons could disintegrate even the toughest alien defenses. The warships were not alone. With Earth's forces now joined by a coalition of allied alien species, those who had previously fought against humanity, but now sought to survive alongside them. The battlefield became a true testament to unity. Together, they rallied behind Leo, determined to fight for the survival of their species. Their collective spirit and newfound alliances were a powerful force that the aliens had not anticipated. As the two massive fleets faced off in the vastness of space, Leo addressed his troops with a speech that would be remembered for generations. His voice crackled through the comms, filled with raw emotion and resolve. "We're not just fighting for survival today," he said, his words piercing through the comms. "We're fighting for our future. For our families, our loved ones, and for every single life on this planet. They think we're weak, but we've shown them that humanity doesn't back down. Now, we show them that we don't give up." His speech rang through the hearts of those who listened, igniting a fire in their spirits. Even as the enemy's massive fleet loomed large in the distance, the humans and their allies gathered their courage. They had something the aliens didn't: determination, and the will to fight for everything they held dear. The battle was nothing short of cinematic. Space became a chaotic sea of flashing lights, explosions, and the deafening roar of plasma fire. Ships cloaked, darted, and decloaked, evading missiles that streaked through the dark expanse of the cosmos. Each explosion lit up the sky as Earth's forces engaged the alien fleet with unmatched ferocity. The Star Destroyers led the charge, their immense size dwarfing the alien ships as they unleashed their full firepower. Each volley of plasma fire was so powerful it caused shockwaves that rippled through space, shaking even the toughest alien vessels. The aliens had never seen anything like it before. Despite their advanced technology, they couldn't match the overwhelming firepower of the Star Destroyers. Earth's forces moved with incredible precision, coordinating their attacks and pushing back against the alien onslaught. But despite their best efforts, the aliens weren't going to go down without a fight. They responded with overwhelming strength, launching wave after wave of attacks. Their new fleet was designed for one purpose: to annihilate Earth's resistance once and for all. Their weapons tore into Earth's defenses, and the battle grew increasingly brutal. The once optimistic human forces now found themselves locked in a war of attrition, every inch of space fought for with blood, sweat, and tears. It was during this pivotal moment that tragedy struck. Bonner, Leo's best friend and one of Earth's most skilled pilots, was leading a group of fighters in a daring attack against an alien cruiser. The mission was risky, but Bonner's squadron was the only one capable of infiltrating the heart of the alien fleet. As they streaked across space, dodging alien fire, Bonner noticed something that would change the course of the battle. A massive alien bombardment was heading straight for Leo's warship, its powerful blasts capable of ripping the ship apart. Without hesitation, Bonner made the ultimate decision. He ordered his squadron to dive straight into the alien bombardment, a move that would cost him his life, but would buy Leo and his ship precious time. "Leo, I got this." Bonner's voice crackled over the comms, a grin evident in his tone. "You're going to make it out of this. Just keep fighting." Before Leo could respond, Bonner's ship plunged directly into the alien bombardment. The explosion that followed was catastrophic, sending shockwaves throughout the battlefield. The blast created a temporary opening in the alien fleet's defensive line, giving Leo and his crew a brief moment to strike back. Leo's heart sank. Bonner was gone. His best friend, the man who had stood beside him through thick and thin, had sacrificed everything for the cause. Leo's eyes filled with rage and sorrow as he watched the explosion ripple through space. It was a pain unlike anything he had ever felt. Bonner's sacrifice was a devastating blow, but it also fueled Leo's resolve. He would not let his friend's death be in vain. As the battle raged on, Leo's grief transformed into determination. "For Bonner," he shouted to his crew. "For Earth. For all of us." The emotional weight of the loss pushed Leo and his team harder than ever before. With renewed strength, they continued their fight, rallying around Bonner's memory. Leo knew that humanity wasn't just fighting for their lives anymore. They were fighting for each other, for every soul lost in the battle. The loss of Bonner only fueled their determination to see this war through to the end. The battle was far from over. Both fleets, exhausted and battered, pressed on. The stars above Earth were filled with the light of 1,000 explosions, the distant cries of war echoing through space. As the two sides clashed with ever-increasing fury, the fate of Earth hung in the balance. The stakes had never been higher. But Leo knew one thing for sure: humanity would never give up. Not while they had each other, and not while there was even a shred of hope left. The war was intensifying, and Earth's fight for survival had reached a tipping point. The battle had raged across the vastness of space for weeks, and Earth's forces had endured tremendous losses. Yet, against all odds, humanity had held its ground. But now, Leo and his team were about to undertake the most daring mission of all. A final push that would not only decide the fate of Earth, but also send a message to the Galactic Council. Humanity was not to be underestimated. With the Star Destroyers in position, the moment had arrived for humanity to take the fight to the heart of the alien empire. Leo, now leading a small, elite squadron of soldiers and allied alien fighters, stood before his crew, their faces filled with determination. They had come a long way, losing friends, battling impossible odds, but they had not come this far to fail. "Everyone knows what's at stake," Leo said, his voice unwavering. "We've fought for our survival, for our future, for everything we love. Now it's time to show the Galactic Council that Earth is not just a target. We are a force to be reckoned with." The mission was clear. They would infiltrate the Galactic Council's homeworld, the very heart of the alien empire, and deliver a decisive blow that would cripple the Council's power forever. It was a suicide mission, but Leo knew that if they didn't act now, Earth would never stand a chance. Using cloaked stealth ships, humanity's forces crept silently toward the enemy's planet. The cloaking technology, perfected by years of secret research, made their ships virtually invisible to the alien radar. As they approached the atmosphere of the Council's homeworld, Leo felt a cold chill run down his spine. This was it, the final assault. There would be no turning back after this. As they descended toward the planet, the landscape below was a stark contrast to Earth. Towering alien cities, shining with unearthly lights, dotted the surface. Yet even these grand cities appeared fragile under the shadow of humanity's might. They could already see the faint glow of Earth's star destroyers orbiting above, preparing to rain down destruction on the alien strongholds. The squadron touched down on the planet's surface with eerie silence, the stealth ships blending into the shadows. They moved quickly, knowing that they had no time to waste. Leo's team navigated through the ruined cities, their eyes focused, alert to every movement around them. The alien forces had fortified their strongholds well, but the humans and their allies were ready for whatever came next. The ground assault was brutal. As Leo's squadron advanced, they encountered fierce resistance from alien soldiers who were determined to defend their planet at all costs. The fight was unlike any Leo had experienced before: close-quarters combat, hand-to-hand battles, and firefights that seemed endless. The air was thick with smoke, the distant sounds of explosions echoing through the streets as humans and their alien allies fought side by side. Buildings collapsed around them, and the once vibrant cities were now nothing more than war-torn landscapes, scared by the conflict. It was as if the planet itself was fighting back, with natural disasters triggered by the relentless bombardment from above. Acid rains fell, fires raged, and the temperature fluctuated wildly. But Leo and his team pushed forward, undeterred. Every step brought them closer to their target, the Council's central command facility, where the heart of the alien leadership resided. It was in the midst of this chaos that humanity's forces launched their final, most devastating weapon: the orbital bombardment. The star destroyers, positioned high above the planet, unleashed their full firepower, and the skies erupted in a spectacle of destruction. Massive, concentrated blasts rained down on the alien capitals, obliterating cities in seconds. Explosions cascaded across the planet, lighting up the sky with firestorms that scorched the surface. The shockwaves from the blasts rattled the very foundations of the city where Leo and his squad were fighting. The devastation was beyond anything they had ever imagined. Entire alien civilizations crumbled under the might of humanity's weaponry. The sound of the explosions reverberated through the air, and the sky above them was filled with the burning remains of alien ships and buildings. The humans had struck at the very heart of the alien empire, and the results were catastrophic. Alien forces that had once been so confident, so sure of their victory, were now scrambling in desperation. The sudden turn of events left the Galactic Council reeling. They had underestimated humanity, and now they were paying the price for their arrogance. But amidst the chaos, Leo's mission remained the same. His team had made it to the Central Command Facility, the final stronghold of the Galactic Council. The doors to the facility were heavily guarded, but that was not enough to stop Leo and his squadron. They fought their way through the alien soldiers, clearing a path toward the warlord who had orchestrated the destruction of Earth. Leo's hands tightened around his weapon as he entered the heart of the Council's stronghold, his heart pounding with a mix of rage and sorrow. The final confrontation was inevitable. Leo could feel the presence of the warlord before he even saw him. The air was thick with tension as the two forces clashed one last time. Leo's body was bruised, battered from the long battle, but his resolve had never been stronger. The warlord, an imposing figure clad in dark armor, stood before him, a sneer on his face. "You should have known, human," The warlord's voice boomed, cold and mocking. You never stood a chance against the might of the Galactic Council. Leo's eyes narrowed, the memories of his fallen comrades flashing before him. Bonner's sacrifice, the countless lives lost, everything had led to this moment. The warlord had taken so much from him, from humanity, but Leo was not about to let him take any more. You're wrong, Leo said, his voice steady, though his heart burned with fury. This isn't about might. It's about survival. And you're not going to destroy Earth. Not today. The two charged at each other, the clash of weapons ringing through the air. The fight was fierce, each blow filled with the weight of everything Leo had lost. For every strike the warlord landed, Leo remembered Bonner, his fallen friends, and the millions of lives at stake. Finally, with one final decisive strike, Leo brought the warlord to his knees. The battle was over. The warlord, once so confident in his power, lay defeated at Leo's feet. The visual of Leo standing victorious over his fallen enemy, the warlord's armor shattered, symbolized humanity's triumph over the oppressive forces of the Galactic Council. But there was no joy in Leo's eyes, only the grim satisfaction that the fight was over. Behind him, the skies were still ablaze with the firestorms from the orbital bombardments, and the galaxy itself seemed to tremble as the remnants of the Galactic Council's empire crumbled to dust. Humanity had struck back with everything they had, and against all odds, they had emerged victorious. Earth's fight for survival had come to a brutal, fiery end, and now the path forward was clear. Leo stood tall, but the weight of the victory was heavy. The war had cost him everything, but it had also given humanity something far more important: hope. The galaxy had burned, but from the ashes of war, a new future would rise. The war had been long, devastating, and costly. The final battles had taken place across alien worlds, once vibrant and full of life, now reduced to smoldering ruins. The Galactic Council, which had once seemed an unstoppable force, lay shattered, broken, and helpless. The alien leaders who had once boasted of their superiority were now on their knees, pleading for mercy, but Earth's resolve was unwavering. Leo, standing on the battlefield with his team, could feel the weight of the victory, but it was a hollow feeling. The destruction was unimaginable. The once proud cities of the Galactic Council now lay in ruins, nothing more than piles of ash and twisted metal. The alien fleets that had terrorized the galaxy were either scattered or destroyed. Earth had won, but the price had been high. The cost of victory was written across every devastated landscape, every lost friend, and every scar that now marred humanity's soul. As Leo and his comrades surveyed the scene, the alien leaders, the last remnants of the Galactic Council, came crawling out of their hiding places, broken and beaten. They were no longer the conquerors, no longer the powerful empire that had once cast a shadow over the galaxy. Now, they were desperate, begging for mercy, pleading for their lives. "Please," one of them said, his voice trembling with fear. "We never meant to push this far. We were wrong to underestimate your strength. Spare us, and we will leave you in peace. We will never interfere with Earth again." But Earth, having fought so hard for its survival, was in no mood for mercy. Leo and the leaders of Earth's forces stood together, their eyes cold with resolve. The message was clear, and it would echo across the stars. "We gave you one warning. Do not underestimate us again." Leo's heart was heavy as he looked at the aliens before him. He had seen so many lives lost, so many sacrifices made, and yet he felt no sympathy for these beings who had brought war to Earth. It wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about sending a message to the galaxy that humanity would not be a victim, not ever again. The final act of the Galactic Council's surrender was a bitter one. They were forced to sign a treaty that would ensure Earth's place in the galaxy was secure. Earth's future, once uncertain, was now guaranteed. No longer would they be at the mercy of the Council, nor any other alien empire that dared to challenge them. The galaxy had learned a hard lesson. Humanity was not to be trifled with. As the dust began to settle, Leo and his team remained on the battlefield, the last to leave. The others had begun the long journey back to Earth, but Leo couldn't tear himself away from the devastation. The alien worlds, once proud centers of alien civilizations, were now nothing more than graveyards. The fires still burned in the distance, and the air was thick with smoke. For a moment, Leo closed his eyes, listening to the eerie silence that had descended. The noise of battle was gone, replaced by an unnatural stillness. It was a silence that seemed to speak volumes. The war was over, but the scars would remain forever. Leo had lost so much: his best friend Bonner, countless comrades, the lives of innocent people, and now, as he stood alone in the wreckage, he felt the weight of those losses more than ever. He had led his forces to victory, but the price had been steep. He turned to face his team, his companions who had fought by his side throughout the war. There were no words to describe what they had been through. They had seen the horrors of battle, felt the pain of loss, and fought not just for survival, but for a future they could no longer take for granted. Leo's mind wandered back to the days before the war, when Earth had been just another planet in the galaxy, struggling to protect itself from forces far more powerful. Now, Earth had not only survived, but had struck back with a vengeance. The message had been sent loud and clear to the galaxy. Humanity was not a race to be underestimated. The scars of war would be with them forever, but they had earned their place in the stars. As Leo walked away from the battlefield, his thoughts turned to the future. What would life be like after all this? The war had cost Earth so much, and the rebuilding would take time. But despite the devastation, there was hope. There was always hope. Earth's forces had proven their strength, and with the Galactic Council broken, there was a chance for a new era of peace. The final scene, however, was not one of despair. It was one of renewal, of rebuilding. The camera panned over Earth's skyline, once scared by war, now showing the first signs of recovery. Buildings destroyed during the early stages of the conflict were being rebuilt. The people, once on the brink of extinction, were now working together to restore their world to its former glory. But this wasn't just about physical reconstruction. Earth's victory had brought them closer together as a species. Nations, once divided, now stood united in the face of their shared experience. The war had forced them to confront their own weaknesses, but it had also made them stronger. The people of Earth knew that they had to prepare for whatever threats the galaxy might send their way in the future. There would always be dangers, always be new challenges, but they would face them together, stronger than ever before. Leo stood at the window of a high-rise building, looking out over the city. The sun was setting on a new day, casting a golden glow over the horizon. It was a peaceful sight, one that he had never taken for granted before. In the distance, he could see the remnants of the star destroyers orbiting above, their engines still humming as they prepared for the next phase of humanity's future. The war had been long, hard, and costly, but in the end, it had forged a new era for Earth. The galaxy had learned a valuable lesson. Humanity was not just a survivor. It was a force to be reckoned with. Leo knew that the scars of the war would never fade completely, but as he watched the sun sink behind the horizon, he allowed himself a moment of peace. Earth had won, and with that victory came a new chapter in humanity's history. The stars, once so distant and unapproachable, now felt like they were within reach. A new age had begun for Earth, and this time they would face whatever came next with strength, unity, and an unwavering resolve. The war was over, and Earth had emerged victorious. But the journey was far from over. Humanity had shown the galaxy its true strength, and the victory had changed everything. As Leo stood on the balcony of the newly reconstructed command center, gazing out at the sprawling city below, he knew this was just the beginning. The once quiet and uncertain planet, home to a species that had been pushed to the brink of extinction, now stood tall and proud in the galaxy. The message they had sent was clear: we will never be an underdog again. Looking to the stars, Leo felt a surge of emotion. The lights of distant stars twinkled above, but for the first time, those stars didn't seem so far away. The galaxy, once a vast and intimidating expanse, now felt within reach. Earth had proven that it could stand toe-to-toe with the greatest powers in the universe. And now, it was time to chart a new course. A course toward discovery, growth, and a future where humanity's place in the stars was secure. Leo wasn't alone in his thoughts. Around him, his team had gathered, their faces showing the same sense of awe and determination. The war had changed them all, shaped them into something greater than they had ever imagined. They had been pushed to the limit, but in the end, they had triumphed. And now, it was time to look forward, to take their hard-earned victory and use it to shape a future for the generations to come. The rest of the galaxy had watched as Earth fought back, as humanity overcame seemingly impossible odds. The alien races that had once viewed humanity as weak, insignificant, and easily conquered were now forced to reckon with a very different reality. Earth had sent a message that echoed through the stars. Humanity was not a race to be ignored. Their victory had not only secured their survival, but had also earned them the respect of even the most powerful and advanced alien civilizations. Leo's thoughts turned to the future, to the possibilities that lay ahead. With Earth's new status, the galaxy was no longer a foreign, untouchable expanse. It was a place of opportunity, of exploration, and of hope. The victories won in the battlefields had not only proven humanity's strength, but had also paved the way for new alliances and the discovery of previously unknown civilizations. Earth's legacy would be one of peace, progress, and discovery. As the days passed, Earth began to rebuild and expand, both physically and ideologically. The ruins of the war were being replaced with new structures, new technology, and new ideas. Earth's scientists, engineers, and leaders worked side by side, pushing the boundaries of what was possible. The advancements in technology that had been developed during the war were now being applied to everyday life. The same advanced cloaking technology, faster-than-light engines, and AI combat systems that had been used in battle were now being adapted for peaceful purposes: exploration, communication, and expansion. It was a new era for Earth, one filled with promise and potential. The human race, once on the brink of extinction, was now embarking on a new journey. The war had united humanity in ways never before imagined. The divisions that had once separated nations, cultures, and ideologies seemed insignificant in the face of such overwhelming adversity. The victory over the Galactic Council had forged a unity that would carry humanity forward into the future. And now, united, Earth was ready to take its place among the stars, not as an underdog, but as a force to be reckoned with. Leo's heart swelled with pride as he watched humanity's first new ships being launched into space. These ships, far more advanced than anything that had come before, would explore the farthest reaches of the galaxy. They were symbols of humanity's newfound power, symbols of the strength and resilience that had carried them through the darkest of times. But they were also symbols of hope. Hope for a future where Earth would no longer be the prey, but a respected player on the galactic stage. As the ships soared into the unknown, Leo couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement. There was so much to discover, so much to learn, and so much more to achieve. Earth's new role in the galaxy was just beginning, and the possibilities were endless. The war was over, but the adventure was just beginning. Earth's message was spreading, reaching the far corners of the galaxy. The once quiet and isolated planet was now a beacon of hope for other civilizations. Those who had once feared Earth now looked to it as a model, a symbol of strength and resilience. Earth's triumph had shown that even the smallest and most vulnerable species could rise up and challenge the mightiest of empires. The galaxy was no longer a place of fear and uncertainty for humanity. It was a place of opportunity, and Earth would seize that opportunity with both hands. Leo thought about the lessons they had learned during the war. They had learned that no matter how advanced an enemy might seem, no matter how powerful, humanity had something that they could never replicate: heart. The humans had fought not just for their survival, but for their future. They had fought for their families, their friends, their homes. They had fought with everything they had, and they had won. And now, they would take that spirit with them as they explored the universe. The war had shown humanity's potential, but the true test of their strength would come in the future. There would always be new challenges, new threats, and new dangers lurking in the galaxy. But Leo knew that humanity was ready. They had proven themselves in the heat of battle, and now they would prove themselves as explorers, diplomats, and pioneers. As the sun set on Earth's horizon, Leo knew that a new chapter had begun. Earth was no longer just a planet in a quiet corner of the galaxy. It was a beacon of hope, a symbol of strength, and a force to be reckoned with. And as long as humanity held on to the lessons they had learned, the legacy of their victory would live on for generations to come. The stars above were no longer distant, unreachable points of light. They were now the next step in humanity's journey. And as Leo looked to those stars, he knew one thing for certain: the best was yet to come. Humanity's legacy was just beginning, and it would live on for as long as the stars themselves.